Another mass shooting in Chicago, a fatal shooting leaving a child dead, and the numbers of those shot across the city over the weekend still stacking up. And William Kelly, reporter out of Chicago, chatted with him earlier this morning to give us the latest here with Bishop on Air. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and be sure to check in with us. And you can do so either in the live chat or you can comment below. But chatted with William about a variety of things, from the migrant issue to the crime issue and the just tragic headlines over the weekend in Chicago.
Incredible. The sun comes out, sun's out, guns out, as they say in Chicago. There were 40 plus people shot by Sunday morning in Chicago. We haven't even gotten the updated numbers. And among those shot was a mass shooting on the South Side. A family, 11 members of the same family shot, including an 8-year-old girl who was murdered, who's dead. And the mayor of the city of Chicago, his statement was, Chicagoans are allowed to be outraged. As if somehow we need his permission to be outraged. If you remember, when I would go to Chicago City press conferences with Lightfoot and talk about, similar mass shootings, similar numbers, she had the audacity to tell me that shootings were down, and that I was, full of crap for even bringing it up at her press conference. Well, this is history repeating itself again. And as it stands right now, it looks like Mayor Johnson is completely unprepared for violent crime in Chicago, especially with summer shootings on the horizon, Greg.
Yeah, and you got to think it's only mid-April. We have yet to see the even warmer months of the year, where it's been historically shown that a lot of people take to the streets and violence ticks upward. But what about police on the streets? I asked William Kelly for what he's hearing of the sentiment from those who are supposed to either work at catching these individuals or working to prevent these types of things from happening. How are police feeling about all of this?
Well, Mayor Johnson still is speaking in this coded social justice rhetoric that that somehow if we only were paying out reparations for slavery, that would end the violent crime in Chicago. And that, in fact, he's even gone so far as to say that not to expect any reduction in violent crime in Chicago until there's significant, quote, investment. That doesn't really make the people, who are the victims of armed robberies, many hit and runs that are intentional, that are being reported, that pedestrians, cyclists were actually hit on purpose by someone, usually in a stolen vehicle. The Chicago police, I think that there is a tremendous amount of frustration. We have very high-profile cases, stories, very sad stories, tragic stories around the country of police officers being murdered at traffic stops. And just recently in Chicago, we had a situation where a 26-year-old Dexter Reed shot at the police. It's on camera. He shot at the police. The police returned fire, but because it was a black motorist and a white police officer, at least one of the police officers involved, there was more than one police officer involved, but because one of them was, quote unquote, allegedly white, the media thought that they were going to, or I should say COPA, thought that they were going to have some kind of a major incident on their hands. But I get the feeling that the people of Chicago are also fed up with this idea that because the police are trying to keep us safe, that somehow they should all be outraged by that, Greg.
So, again, the violence issue very much top of mind, especially after another weekend with the fatal shooting and a mass shooting and just the heartbreak that there is. And you've also got the migrant issue that's still top of mind for a lot of people, with millions and millions of dollars of tax money going to those who are here, as the governor says, seeking asylum, but some of them crossing the border illegally. Not going through a port of entry to seek asylum. But obviously, the taxpayer cost continues to mount. You had several weeks ago, the state of Illinois and Cook County announced that they were going to be spending, $180 some odd million in the next fiscal year, and they said an overall cost would be like $250. That left about $70 million that the city of Chicago had yet to announce. Well, apparently, they just announced that they're going to be offering up $70 million.
Right. Well, remember when $70 million was a lot of money, Greg? We're burning through millions of dollars a day, a week, in the city of Chicago on the migrant crisis alone. This is, in addition to the $150 million that went to one vendor, just a single vendor, on top of the $300 million that has been spent so far. This is unsustainable. The people of Chicago know it. I think even children know it. I think people realize that when you have diseases like measles and tuberculosis that are now spreading to the suburbs and the collar counties, that and crime, you realize that, I think, the average citizen of Chicago knows that this is unsustainable and it's unhealthy for our society on a literal, health level. And who's going to return to the downtown city of Chicago to work? The vacancy rates of retail and office buildings are hovering around 30%. That is in and of itself a crisis, Greg.
Obviously, a lot more to happen and stuff for us to talk about in perpetuity. And, of course, I want to appreciate William Kelly for connecting with me on Monday mornings to give us a lay of the land of what's going on in the Windy City, the biggest city in Chicago, in Illinois, and how it is leading headlines across the country. So that's all I got for you today. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning here with Bishop on Air.